guys are watching the radar very closely for that moment when Milton's about to make landfall somewhere in the Sarasota area.
So much information's coming in. I was back reading the Weather Prediction Center that kind of oversees the country and talks about excessive snow and rain.
Nash has one.
Landfall in Siesta Key.
Siesta Key landfall.
Okay.
How about that? So that means the center went over Siesta Key. And that means everywhere from near Siesta Key south would have the storm surge flooding.
Okay.
Everywhere Siesta Key north, which I think places like Anna Maria can get flooding from the east side. They have the intercoastal there, but obviously it's a lot better for them in Holmes Beach if it went north. So what I was going to say is, and this is being drawn on the map, is that the Weather Prediction Center just had a big statement that came out and said, major to catastrophic flooding is likely from Metro Tampa. We don't call it Metro Tampa, but you know, the people around Metro Tampa all the way to the East Coast. And Jim kind of drew where it's all going to set up. And I think it makes sense. And when we talk catastrophic flooding, you know, we're talking about rainfall rates that are so high that we saw this during, you know, some big thunderstorms here, that the water has no place to go, and it ends up going everywhere. So again, major to catastrophic flooding with 6-hour rainfall totals, you know, up to 10, 15 inches.
All the way across Florida.
Inside that little wedge, kind of following I-4.
Wow.
And we're not done with the rain here around Tampa Bay for a while, even though it'll tend to lessen. This is rainfall rates. Can we, Nash, can you do just change the mode to rainfall rates and kind of go around and take a look at it? Maybe how about do rainfall totals? We'll do rainfall totals after this because you clicked on it. So here is where the purple is where you'll see the highest rainfall rates, and we've seen numbers 5.2, 4.4, 4.4, 4 inches. That's in an hour. So if you get 2, 3, 4 hours of this, you're approaching 20 inches of rain. Areas south of us have not had nearly as much rain. This is kind of where the line is north of the storm. And we've seen this hurricane today go from a pure classic hurricane to transition slowly to what we would consider almost a winter storm. This is kind of like having a nor'easter, those big, powerful nor'easters, and they're strong, that spin off Cape Cod and off Cape Hatteras. They can sometimes have an eye. This has kind of done that today as it's developed along our front. These are rainfall totals so far, up to 11 in Pinellas, 9.3 in Largo, 6.8, 5.8 in Lakeland. This will all fill in and just move across the state in conjunction with the path of Milton. Less rain to the south and then more rain to the north. And you can see now with landfall, Siesta Key, storm will continue to move onshore, but then you look at the back edge and there's still more rain to come. Not much going on rain-wise. Cape Coral, Punta Gorda, Northport, Englewood. However, this area down here having a pretty significant storm surge. The northeast wind continues to push water out of Tampa Bay, and with landfall Siesta Key, this is not a setup that favors big surge flooding in Tampa Bay because of the wind direction and the motion of the storm. And water levels have been high all day because the hurricane brings with it a wall of water, and there may be some coastal flooding as the storm kind of goes by and the winds turn northwest, but this isn't a big setup like we had during Helene. There may be some high water as the storm heads east. So in red, you know where you live on the map. The red in the middle is the area of hurricane force winds, 75 miles an hour plus. This is going to move across the peninsula and kind of shrink in size as the storm weakens because it's over land. So it's on the coast now, and then we'll run it all the way to the East Coast, and you will see the little donut gets smaller. It gets near Orlando, and then it goes over by the Cape, and it becomes smaller and smaller. The yellow is all tropical storm force winds. This is 7, 8 o'clock, so it's going to be windy all night long, and then once the storm goes by, tomorrow the winds will shift north and northwest, and I actually went back to the weather office and kind of say, what's going on behind this? And it was so nice to look at the model data for the next 7 days and see dew points in the 40s and 50s and high temperatures in the 80s. So through all of this stress, all the angst, I guess the bonus is we can all enjoy a nice stretch of low humidity, unfortunately with some cleanup when the storm goes by and the winds turn northwest. And that dropping dew point will essentially end our rainy season finally. This is the rainfall accumulation. Boy, it's on a really narrow strip. Some of the observing stations are no longer observing because of wind. Sarasota had a peak gust at SRQ, I saw 96. St. Pete, 77. Look at Clearwater now, 81. Look at Brooksville, 71. So this is all hurricane force gust. And around the eye, you know, we've had reports of 110 to 114. I don't know if I can call that an official number because it was from a storm chaser. Look at the rain outside here now. This is unbelievable. You know what this kind of reminds me of? So what does it remind me of? This is like some of those movies you see when you're in the Amazon or you're in the monsoon season in India, when it just rains as hard as it can rain. This is incredible. I am sure there's water everywhere. You remember what the problems we had during the 2 big thunderstorm days back in September when everything was just completely flooded? I am sure all around Hillsborough, Pinellas County, it's doing that now, but there's no one out there to see it. Power outages are way up there, 160. These are customers. In Largo, this is up in Largo. In Pinellas, then 86,000 in Hillsborough, 66,000 in sections of Manatee. And this high numbers will all just kind of go in tandem with the storm because the storm will bring with it stronger winds. So expect the numbers inland to go up. And we'll watch that. But this is pretty much expected, not a shocker. The rain's a big story. It really is. And, you know, thankfully you're safe. But this is bad out there, people. Tampa Bay east along I-4. And winds, and we have tornadoes. What a day. And we're not quite done yet. Let me go back to the set, and we'll do a little chit-chat.
Let's get you back over here because while we're on that subject of rainfall, we've gotten a lot of questions from viewers. Haley and I are kind of going through some of these. I think this one's applicable to that from John Van Hez. He wants to know if you guys can address river flooding forecast for local rivers because he's saying that the Hillsborough behind I guess it's the Swift Mud gate there, affects a lot of corridors, 301, Morris Bridge, and so on.
I think the problem is it's still raining, and there'll be more rain between now and then we'll kind of look at how the numbers will project, but there has to be river flooding. Enclote River, all the rivers north of Tampa Bay, including the Hillsborough River, are going to have some significant, all that water of up to 20 inches of rain is going to have to go someplace, and it's going to get into our drainage system, which is our rivers. So I think river flooding is a given. It's going to be one of the stories we'll follow up on the rest of the week. When the hurricane's gone, it'll be the big damage. It'll be also the flooding, and not necessarily storm surge, but freshwater flooding.
It takes a couple of days for those rivers to crest.
Oh, right? yeah, to crest, for sure.
Right.
Well, we've been paying a lot of attention to the coastal areas waiting for landfall. Stacy is out in Polk County, though. A lot of viewers out there wondering what they're getting tonight. She wants to know the expected path through Polk County, when it'll pass over.
I'll be honest, in Polk County, your danger today was the tornadoes.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, there were some significant major, the videos of wedge, you know what a wedge tornado? It looks like a wedge.
Yes.
That's why I call it a wedge tornado, like this, like a V.
Yeah.
This is not Oklahoma.
We don't see that.
Right.
This is not Nebraska. Yeah. And I saw, the thing was, when I saw the first picture of that, I thought it was, oh, here we go again with AI. Someone's doing AI pretending we got wedge tornadoes in Florida, and it was real. That's a big deal.
What causes that? What decides whether it's thin
because it's the incredible shear.
Yeah.
There was a time today, just when the hurricane was in the right spot. Shear, by the way, the definition of shear is the change in wind direction with height, and that obviously would make something spin. If you go around in a circle, things will start spinning. So anyways, to finish up on that, I want to, but the main threat tonight is to kind of stay in the middle of your room and it'll be gusty winds, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour.
A question on those winds and that extreme wind warning, which you said rare to see one of these issued, and I think it's still in effect until 9:30. Okay, so Becky Buchanan in Plant City says she's in Plant City, but she got the wind warning, so she's kind of wondering, am I supposed to get winds that high in Plant City?
I think not everyone is going to have winds that high. I think in cases like this, the Weather Service may want a little overwarn. I think everyone gets strong winds. Will everyone have 115 miles an hour in the warning area? I don't think it works that way. But it's a significant risk and a danger that I think the Weather Service is cautious and maybe just does a larger area. But the wind is going to be a problem, and obviously the rain.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul. And thank you to all of the viewers who have left us these great questions. We have many, many more we didn't get to. So we'll check back.
Maybe we can get to some more later.
Yeah,
I think so.
Sure
I'll be
will.
around.
All right.